Good afternoon from Paris, where IAFOR is holding our 4th Paris Conference on Education and Arts and Humanities. My name is Melina Neofidu. I am the Academic Operations Manager at IAFOR. And next to me is standing Ambassador Takehiro Kano. Thank you for being here for the second time.
My pleasure.
And could you briefly introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Well, I'm currently serving as the Japanese ambassador to UNESCO since the end of 2023. There I am in charge of all the cultural, educational and scientific diplomacy at the platform UNESCO.
And you spoke a little bit about this today. Could you elaborate on what the presentation was about?
Yes, particularly I touched upon the historic background of UNESCO. This year marks the 80th anniversary of the Constitution, and also how that spirit of the UNESCO Constitution dates back to even before that, during the interwar period. And also I touched upon the role to be played by UNESCO in the field of the cultural heritage.
So, speaking of cultural heritage, a very contested space, who owns cultural heritage?
Well, basically, you could say that it is the nations who created that cultural heritage. But on some occasions, things are not so simple as that, because the culture is created in the process of exchanges and interactions between different nations over the long period of time. And sometimes the multiple nations could claim ownership of the cultural heritage.
So that was my next question. Why is it so hard to return cultural heritage when we are so sure that the cultural heritage has to return to the cultures that have created it?
Well, I think that there are various reasons for that. And of course, there's currently the international mechanism that would promote and facilitate the repatriation of cultural heritage back to where it originally belonged to. But it's because it happened a long time ago, and many stakeholders are involved, and also there is a question of the legitimacy of those who currently own the property. So it's the efforts is underway, but sometimes it may take a long time to produce actual results.
We didn't talk about this during the presentation, but it's obviously something we're going into the future. How are technologies, emerging technologies such as AI or 3D printing, going to change how we preserve cultural heritage? And what should we be careful about in the future?
Generally speaking, personally, I think that we cannot rule out the possibility of using every technology, modern technology available to preserve the cultural heritage, if it's appropriate to do so. Probably, I think that the important thing is to how we can ensure the ethical use of such technology. And if that ethical use is assured, we could pursue various technology for that purpose.
And this is an off-script question, but it was very interesting that it was mentioned during the presentation. It was the last question about cultural heritage being tied to business. And you spoke that we should also see it, or Professor Ramel spoke about seeing it as in relation to the rise of capitalism. So can you elaborate on that?
Sometimes that capitalism or the innovative financing, such as crowdfunding, could help to financially support the facilities such as a museum or traditional cultural heritage, which are dear need of some financial resources. On the other hand, as I said, that we should be mindful of the possible negative impact of capitalism playing too much. Sometimes it may lead to the over-tourism, for example, that might undermine rather than protect the cultural heritage. And also we should be mindful of the disparities between different type of cultural heritage, tangible or intangible, which cannot be, the value of them cannot be measured not just by the monetary terms, but also some non-monetary terms. So how we can value or recognize non-monetary values, and then in return for that we can support that. That is a question that we have to deal with.
And that is probably something you do at UNESCO, and I imagine that you get into contact with academics in order to figure out the value of something intangible.
Yes, of course. I think that one of the value-added role to be played by UNESCO, including its instruments such as the Cultural Heritage Convention or Intangible Cultural Heritage Convention, is to recognize some cultural heritage which could be overlooked by the business community. So by rediscovering, because thanks to the intervention by UNESCO, we may rediscover the value. And sometimes that may lead to the commercial viability of such a property. Some may not. But if the commercial viability may not be possible, then the international collaboration may supplement or to play a major part, so that we can equitably support the cultural heritage in all countries across the region, regardless of the type of cultural heritage.
I remember you talked about this in the pre-conference meeting we had about how professionals and academics can work together. And I think that's a very good way of working together.
Exactly. And actually, in the process of recognizing the universal value of the cultural heritage, lots of stakeholders are involved, not just the government representatives, but also the academics and advisory bodies, which are comprised of various academics with various backgrounds. So I think that particularly in this field, cultural diplomacy, the role of the academics of various backgrounds are very crucial.
It's really good that you came and the panel had 2 ambassadors and 2 academics balancing everything. Yes. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.